Welcome to another episode. Before we start, I just want to say I'm grateful to be alive. I am grateful to God. I'm grateful that He put me in this earth, in this time, in this day to be and to live and enjoy this gift we call life. Now, with that being said, we're going to start today's video, and today we're going to speak about how the act of eating is a fundamentally something that is against our higher nature. Specifically, eating to be full, to satisfy hunger. Acting out of that impulse, not in terms of eating for the sake of survival, but eating with the belief that you have to survive. Therefore, you act off the impulse. And when you've been hungry, you wanna full your stomach because you understand that you've been hungry for so long. So basically what I've written down is being full stomach is literally pulling self into a low vibrational state. When you are full, you are manifesting lustful thoughts, gluttony thoughts, and only seeking escape to pleasure, right? Because you are full, you don't feel like doing anything that is hard work, that requires any effort. Therefore, you are basically in a lower state of existence, in a low state of consciousness, because literally the only things that you are, first of all, let's look at this from like a metaphysical lens. Basically, emotionally, you are in a state of satisfaction. You have fulfilled your desire, which, back in the days, it would mean when a hunter goes hungry, or like a tribal leader or a person just in general, they would have to go hunt. So in order to satisfy that hunger, they hunt, they eat. So you, with your amygdala brain, which is basically your cave brain, you are basically still operating from that paradigm, but in this today's modern world. So you get hungry, your hand is basically just going up and making yourself some food, and then you sit down and you eat. Now the food tastes good, you feel good once you've eaten, because it releases dopamine inside your brain. Like the brain does this. It signals that you are safe and you will survive because you have eaten, right? So you get into that state of pleasure, and you start to feel good, and you start to relax, you unwind. You don't really feel motivated to do any hard work after that, because you feel like you have achieved the biggest desire that you had, which was the impulse to eat. So now eating to the point where you are full stomach is literally pulling you into a low state of vibration, because once you in that state, you literally force your body to direct all the energy that you have from any part of your body to your gut, because it has to use that energy to break down the food, digest, and do everything that it has to do. Therefore, you become to get that brain fog. You no longer feel like doing anything. You feel like you don't have energy to do anything. That's because the energy is now being directed to your gut, instead of the energy going into your brain, where you can focus on tasks that need you to do. You now directing your energy to your gut, so that you can begin to break down the food and extract all the nutrients and vitamins that you need from that food. And therefore you are left in a state of pleasure and laziness. You just want to sleep, you just want to watch whatever you want to watch, or just do whatever. So just basically things that require little to no effort. Therefore, already you in that state, that's a low vibrational state, because you are not free. You are a slave to that pleasure. You are a slave to that impulse of just doing nothing, because at that point, your frequency, your emotional state, your mind, you literally are emitting the vibrational frequency of satisfied. Therefore, once you're satisfied, what else could you actually want? What would you wish for when you are already satisfied? You get what I mean? So yeah, that's the gist of what I had to say. It is very unnatural the way that I perceive it to be full. I feel like the only natural state for the gut is to always be empty stomach and only eat once it is needed to. And it is only needed not when you are responding to the impulse of food. Basically, when you're hungry, that's not when you eat. You only eat when you realize that you need the energy because you have gone extended periods of time without putting any sort of energy boosting contents into your system. Therefore, you need the energy to continue whatever it is that you have to do, whether that is to survive, whether that is to work, whether that is to lead, whatever that is to do, bro. You just need to put in energy. So through you viewing food, drinks, whatever it is that you put into your body as a means of fueling your vessel, that is already coming from a higher standpoint, a higher state of consciousness, because you see it for what it is. You don't see it as a flipping god of pleasure or whatever, something that once you eat that burger you're gonna feel so good, basically worshiping the food at that point. But yeah, you just begin to see it from a higher state of view, an ascended state of mind, and from there you begin to see things for what they are, and therefore the truth sets you free, basically. And yeah, that's it for this video. See you on the next one.